on 3, 2, 1. What's up, fam? It's your boy Demir here, purveyor of all sounds underground. Thank you for joining my YouTube channel today, where I'll be discussing the topic of record label economics in 2023. I wanted to do this video after I did a recent video on contracts in 2023, and I think for a lot of us, building your own platform is becoming a norm and something you need to maintain as you go forward in this music industry. So I just want to share some thoughts on that based on my own observations, and hopefully they'll be beneficial to you. But before we jump into the video, what I need from you is that SLC. Hit subscribe, like, comment, and more importantly, hit the notifications bell to stay in touch with the new videos that we have up and coming. All right, so point number 1, let's just jump right into this. This is all about when you start your own label, recognizing you need to support your own platform. The first and foremost point is to start wise. And what I mean by starting wise is to develop a couple things. One is a brand story. What is your brand all about? How will it connect to people? It's very important to give that some thought, because it's very easy for anyone to start a record label and start pushing music out there. But the thing that will distinguish you is what your brand story is and how that will connect with people. The other thing to think about is just, simple budgeting in terms of starting wise. Like, how much are you willing to put forward? Are you going to start the label off with a bang, with like a really good DJ and producer that you admire and respect, and they connect with your brand story, and as a result, you'll be able to attract more people to the label? All things you should think about before starting things up. And point number 2 here, this is an important one, which is you gotta give to get. Nothing is for free. Just because you are a record label and you know a few cool people in the industry, it doesn't allow you or permit you to say to people, hey, give me those tracks and I'm not giving you anything for it. The climate has absolutely changed, and I'm having similar discussions with certain labels now too. I don't really care anymore if you got some PR behind your budget for royalties that I will never see in a lot of cases, because you're stacking up all of the costs back to the artist. You got to make a compelling offer to attract the right people to your label. And there's a number of different creative ways you can go about doing that. Like, the first thing I can think of just right off the bat is if you're starting a label and you want to deal with a lot of locals in your vicinity and you got a lot of talented people that you're comfortable connecting with your brand story and putting their music out on, is why don't you commit to allowing them to be on the bill when you throw parties or partner up with anybody you're throwing parties for, rather than getting the usual suspects locally and pushing your own label's agenda, rather than tying back to the artists that are helping you build the very platform and credibility of that label. That is just one suggestion of many different creative possibilities that are out there. So you gotta give to get. You're not entitled as a record label to say, yeah, give me your music and let's go. Point number 3, I think regardless of the climate and what's happening contractually with a lot of labels in between the artists they sign, where we're seeing splits of 70-30, 80-20, and sometimes, more extreme 90-10 for the label to the artist in terms of net sales. Even though those splits are out there and they exist, the fact that we understand why that's happening, and it's mainly because, sites like Spotify and other streaming sites have made music so ubiquitous and so readily accessible for fractions of a penny. It's driven the cost of running a label much higher, but the net profits lower. So a lot of labels are trying to recoup based on the percentage splits on the net sales. And I highly recommend you be as fair as possible to artists. That'll be an important distinction. Why should I, as an artist, give you music that allows you to sell hundreds of copies of vinyl on your label, or get you a ton of streams and digital downloads, and you're gonna send me statements that always show me in the red? To me, that's not being fair, and it's actually quite stupid, because really and truly, if you've seen the movie called The Playlist on Netflix, which is the whole story about Spotify's creation and evolution, you will see quite clearly that the content is the most important piece. And as artists and musicians, DJs and producers, you have to understand there's value to your content. So as a record label owner myself, Purveyor Underground, we are looking to adhere to 50-50 splits at all times. And we think it's, an honor for artists to trust us with their content. And by being fair, it sets us aside. And there's many ways as new record label owners can do that and still be somewhat profitable. And sometimes it might not necessarily be all about the net sales that come out of it, provided you're very cost conscious and you're watching how much money you're spending on, that ugly term PR, because I just think there's things you can do creatively as an individual of your own organization without necessarily having a whole bunch of PR, because people's attention spans are so minute now, more than ever today. You could do some really cool things to promote your records, provided the music is great, and get the right level of support, consistent support, in a way that shows you're being fair to artists. So try as much as possible to be fair, or come up with other creative revenue streams that not only support the record label and the artist's music as well, but just maintain that overall level of integrity in terms of fairness. Point number 4 is to be transparent. Let people know how you operate and why you operate that way. So in Purveyor Underground, quite simply, we do not put music on Spotify unless we are working with an artist that insists that their music be there, and we agree to that, which is pretty much next to nil most of the time. And we just let people know, like, hey, we don't put our music there because the value of our brand is music first, artist first, and we're just not going to give our music to a platform that continuously exploits artists and their content for their own benefit. So whatever your value statement is for your label and the brand identity and how it connects with people, be transparent with people about that. They'll respect you at the end of the day for it and continue to provide you great content. And point number 5, look at the value proposition that your label is putting forward to distinguish yourself. I alluded to this earlier, which is offer gigs to people that you sign locally or abroad, to help reinforce your brand, as well as just your overall integrity with people when you sign music. I think these things will mean a lot more and more, especially in today's climate, if you're looking to play the long game here in attracting the right people to the label. So offering gigs at Purveyor Underground, we're publishing is a bit of a confusing thing, and we got a great network of people we work with to help collect on publishing. We offer that as a service as well, and we make sure people understand that, hey, if you don't have publishing, well, here's what's going to happen. It's going to get registered here, and whatever money we get in, X% goes over to you. Although I do highly recommend people get their own publishing, but there's a lot of labels that do not encourage artists to do so, and at Purveyor Underground, we do so. And we say, if we're going to collect on it, here's the percentage we're going to make sure we get back to you. So think of different points of value that you can offer to people if you're going to start your label, because it'll put you in a really good light, because most labels, especially the ones with major label backing, are just looking for ways to exploit the content, own it forever, and put people in a place where they're treating artists, I think a lot of the time, unfortunately, where they're just a dime a dozen. And, the facts are is that nobody offers product like you do. When it's your own music that people are into, there's a lot of people that could try and sound like you, but really and truly it's your thing, and there's a certain value to that that must be acknowledged and respected at all times. So as a record label, I highly recommend people to strive to that value statement and always look for ways to create more value for the artist and the label that's fair. And there you have it. Those are my thoughts on record label economics in 2023. Let me know your thoughts on this one. Please comment. I usually join the conversation within 48 hours of posting these videos, so I'd love to hear what you think. And a conversation doesn't have to stop here. We have a growing Discord community, which is absolutely free, that I encourage you to join. You can click the link in the comments below. Much love and respect to you. Peace.